Well, it's not really an awards season unless there's some kind of controversy. And some people think the performance of Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion at this year's Grammys was just a little too hot for TV. In fact, Fox commentator Candace Owens blasted it and said it was a really bad influence on kids. But then Cardi B clapped back and she said only you can monitor what your children are watching. So what do you think, panelists? Did the Fox commentator have a point, or are you on Cardi B's side?
Listen, so I had to rewatch this entire performance, right? I found it a bit lackluster, honestly. Like, yes, we know that sex sells, but other than that, I felt like a lot of the performances on that award show were just kind of subpar. And at this point, we shouldn't be surprised in this day and age now that there is the most provocative sort of thing on television. And we have to remember, too, the name of this song and what this song is about. So I don't think we're expecting them to hop on stage and bake brownies either, right? It sort of comes with the territory. Now, with that being said, I think it was a little much. Would, if I had a daughter or my cousin or my niece walk into the room and that's what they see on a big TV, absolutely, I think it was too much. But again, I do see the point that in this day and age, parents have that responsibility as to what their kids are watching, what they're allowing them to watch as best as they can. And there's always a remote and there's always the opportunity to change the channel if you don't like what you see.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm a little curious about what like 5-year-old is watching the Grammys at 9 o'clock Eastern. Like, are they tuning in to see best liner notes? I don't think that's happening. This feels to me like a non-controversy, not a controversy, a non-controversy. And it happens anytime there is a lack of political turmoil. Conservative commentators have to invent controversy. Oh, and since Joe Biden doesn't tweet like he's on a 3-day bender, they have to invent things. Talking about protecting the culture. The culture is fine. Democracy is on its last legs, but the culture is going to survive. I think this is not anything to be worried about.
Oh, Eric, I like the way you think. I definitely like the way you think. I kind of agree with both of you and also disagree a little bit. I thought the performance was really slow and draggy. Both of them seemed like they were out of shape and maybe shouldn't have been attempting a performance like that. But I do get a little miffed when hetero women simulate lesbian sex for the male gaze. It really cheapens what the true lesbian experience is, and it sends a kind of a mixed message about what woman love really is. So that always miffs me just a little bit. The other thing for me is I feel a little sad about the way music is going, because if you think back in the 70s, and I love 70s music, but you had Janis Joplin talking about take another little piece of my heart, right? So it was like, I'm getting treated like crap and I'm just going to stay for it. But then I got so excited when Destiny's Child came out with Independent Woman, and they're saying things like, hey, the watch I'm wearing, I bought it. The car I'm driving, I bought it because I depend on me. And that's the life I'm living. Then I see Cardi B come up with this song and it's about servicing a man to get a car. No, man, I got a Cadillac in my garage and this babe paid for it.
You
well,
know
I think
what, Candy,
it's important to know that Cardi B,
when you talk about the depth of what is in our music these days, and it's not just this one song, and it's not just Cardi B, and it's not just Meg Thee Stallion, because in their own right, they are great artists for what the genre that they choose to go down in. However, I agree with you in the sense that, give me some depth. I can assume that I'm going to see TNA on television. Give me something that's going to stimulate my mind, as opposed to just what we know is an easy bet, and that's half-naked women.
I think the thing is we can't forget where Cardi B came from. This is a woman who had a really rough start to life. And, I don't need to go through her whole narrative. You can just Google it. But she basically made a living as a dancer and then became this incredible artist. And so you write about what you know when you're an artist. And so that her art is reflecting a part of her life. And so she's an example of somebody who took this sort of like potentially lemony situation and made huge lemonade. So I think it's an honest reflection in some cases. However, I do understand that this is not necessarily the thing that if you're a parent that you want to sit down and be like, this is, the thing that, is going to be the thing that like, I want you to go in this path. But the thing is do musicians, like this is an age old debate, like Madonna, we used to debate. Like I remember having uncomfortable conversations with my family about that. It's like, I think we need to remember that kids watching are actually kind of a little bit more sophisticated than we think. And just because they're watching it doesn't mean they think, oh, I need to exactly be that. You still, as a parent, are the best barometer and the best influence on your child's behavior. So I can give you a cute example. My son, who's 7 years old, we were watching, I don't know, it was at one awards show a while ago, and Lizzo, who is also quite a provocative and interesting and amazing artist. She was doing this performance, and there was a big, giant, inflatable bum on her stage, her butt, okay? And my son is watching it, and he's like looking so curiously, and at some point he just turned to me and he goes, wow, she must really love bums. And I was like, yeah, I guess she does. And I mean, I think the most important thing is to be able to keep those conversations going with your kids, right? And I think that that you are, again, always going to have more influence. The thing is that not everyone has a parent to be there to watch things. But I'll just say this, there's a lot more scary stuff that they can encounter online than an inflatable bum.
Okay, Cynthia, you can now tell your child.
Chime in is that the entire award show, that wasn't the only scandalous performance. Okay, there was also the performance of Dua Lipa, and she too was half naked, and it felt like she was gonna go take a nap on stage because it was so lackluster, and it was just this. Okay, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. But hey, it's what we know sells, which is obviously sex. But I'm kind of curious as to why wasn't anyone in an uproar as to what she did on that stage? Is it maybe because Meg and Cardi are a little more voluptuous? Does that make people more uncomfortable when they see that on stage? I don't know. I just felt like both performances, again, just were a bit obvious, and I expected a little more.
Yeah, I thought that looked like the 20-minute workout Dua Lipa's. But the one thing I want to go back to, what really kind of made me upset with Candace Owens, is when they kept covering this on Fox, and she was talking about how horrific it was and how it was like the end of democracy and it was the end of the American culture. What they kept showing was the part where they were simulating woman-woman sex. And I felt like what she was saying is that was talking about lesbianism, and lesbianism, gay, vibe in general is going to be the end of the culture. I thought that was some homophobic reporting.